don't trade stocks. I only do crypto. If that's a Cypher, then I am still expecting it to go down. Why? It's a good question. You always have to ask why. Why is the right question? Because of fib time. Fib time is really important when it comes to harmonics. So if this is the right pivot, which is the X to the A to the B, then I've got the fib time at D coming in at 5 a.m. this morning. 5 a.m. That would take us to, and the question is where, how far do you go? Well, I think you have to take the liquidity from the previous day low. That would make sense. If you take the liquidity from the previous day low, you're also going to take the liquidity from this low here, because the previous day low, i.e. today's low, you see how it didn't go all the way down? It front run that level, so you haven't actually cleared the liquidity underneath that pivot. You've only cleared the liquidity underneath these pivots. Yeah, you had your SFP bounce. That's your bounce. So now people who are taking longs are going to take their profit, which is what's happening now. And then what I would want is I want the price to go down, take the liquidity from this pivot, and naturally that will probably take the liquidity from that pivot, because you have a little bit of a squeeze, a long squeeze, and then you can have a swing failure. Now the question is, how far down do you go? How far down is the squeeze? That's the question. Yeah, the entry is going to be a swing failure, probably of one of these two pivots, and as low as possible, because there's a pivot down here as well that I'm interested in, which is at the value area low and the 786. I think this pivot here would be the best one if we can get more of a bearish reaction to the downside as we come down here to take the liquidity. I think taking the liquidity on Slerf is critical to Slerf's upside, and I think the reason why is because when I look at the funding rate on Slerf, it's extremely bearish. I haven't really been paying attention to the funding rate so much, just because I've been very bullish, but it's time to be a little bit more impartial. See, right now the funding rate on Slerf is 0.0660. Okay, so we're in bearish funding rate, and effectively what that means is that there's still a lot of leverage longs open in this whole range, probably somewhere here. You know, you still got some leverage long. I think you've got a lot of cross margin leverage longs, and I think what needs to happen is for that funding rate to be neutralized a little bit. Okay, and that's not happened yet. The way to do that is to liquidate, is to close longs. Yeah, and that's why I'm a little bit I'm still bearish, but to the point that I want to see what happens here, because I think this could complete a very bullish harmonic. If that coincides with my Bitcoin idea of taking the liquidity, then that would be nice. If you had the bullish harmonic on Slerf coinciding with taking the liquidity on Bitcoin, and then you lead up and it ends up in an impulse to the upside on Bitcoin, and then that would also reflect on Slerf. I'm actually using Slerf as a little bit of a signal for Bitcoin at the moment. Yeah. If Bitcoin goes down, then this is really going to get hammered. That's the other thing. I think people realize that. I've got a bullish harmonic completing here. If Bitcoin goes down, then this is going down. Then we're no longer talking about that kind of harmonic. We're talking about this or this, you know, something else, something really, really ugly. Okay, I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about this. But if Bitcoin goes down, then we're talking about taking out this low here, and that would be more of a shark. If that's a shark, it wouldn't really work as a shark, to be honest with you. Honestly, I don't think it looks like a shark. It wouldn't look like a harmonic. It would just be ugly. If that happened, that would be really ugly. Yeah. Taking out that pivot would be would it'd be healthy, but at the same time it would be ugly. Because you're just making another low. You're probably going to go down to the all-time lows then. I'm not thinking like that. At the moment, I'm not, because we're still in the value area. All right. For all intents purposes, the other reason why I'm not thinking like that is because I do still think this bump and run